So as we are beginning this session afresh, let me invoke the Guru Parampara who enable us to manifest the best that we can at all times. Om Tat Paramparaya Vidmahe Jnanalingeshwaraya Dhimahi Tanno Guru Prachodayate Om. Om Yoga Maharshi Dr. Swami Geetananda Ge Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Puduvai Kalaimamani Puduvai Shakti Yoga Charini Amma Ji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani Guru Mata Ki Jai. Om Shri Guru Pyo Namah Hari Om. The topic that I have been given today is that of how to maintain the ABC, the accuracy, the brevity, and the clarity of the traditional teachings of yoga as they are taken forward from the offline mode to the online mode. I would like to start off by sharing a few thoughts and a bit of a story about how this transformation happened for me thanks to the COVID pandemic. You know, if say 5 years ago, not even 10, 5 years ago, if you had asked me, Dr. Ananda, do you think yoga can be transmitted through online sessions? I would have said no. If you had said, are you willing to teach online? Most probably I would have said no. Because I've always believed that the timeless tradition of yoga, the Yoga Parampara, requires a direct presence of the teacher and the taught. The teacher and the student, the Guru, the Shishya, the Guru, the Chela, they have to be in the same space at the same time, focusing their mindfulness on the same thing in order for them to grow together. As is said in our Vedic mantra, Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu. It is not just you growing or me growing. We are growing together. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvi. May we become the Tejasvi, but not hate each other and fight with each other. The ancients had a lot of wisdom. They knew that when you came into this very, very sacred space of Guru Shishya, when you were one-to-one with the teacher and the teachings and the taught, that there could be a lot of friction. Because friction is part of transformative process. And yoga is all about transformation and transcendence. Hence, they very much realized that there is a possible friction, and to avoid it, they put it into our consciousness that be careful of this, avoid it as much as possible. So I have always believed, having grown up in a Gurukula environment at Ananda Ashram in Pondicherry, that yoga requires that physical presence to be in the same place at the same time for the same purpose. Now, at the same time, about 20 years ago, when Navin Daswani of Super Audio Chennai, Madras, asked me to make some videos on yoga, some DVDs, I was again very skeptical. Can yoga be transmitted through a DVD? My father used to joke that many people have Kitab Guru. The Guru is the book. They don't have a living Guru at all. So I'm like, I don't want to be a DVD Guru where people are going to learn from a DVD. But then after a lot of persuasion, I said I will do one, and we did our first DVD on Pranayam. And then I started to realize how I could reach people, and how for those students who had already trained with me in person or in our tradition through our different courses, they could use the DVD as a tool to revise. to check themselves, to practice, and to keep the teachings pristine pure. So it became a tool, and I ended up with 19 DVDs by the time I ended with that part of my journey, where there was a lot of DVD making. Now those got transmitted into YouTube videos for those of you who want to see it. There are about 1,000+ videos on my YouTube channel, all for free download. I haven't even monetized my channel because I don't believe in making money off this in that way. Coming back to the topic, couple of years back, if you had asked me, I would have said it's not possible. And then COVID struck. And I still remember when COVID struck and nobody knew what was going to happen. Will there be tomorrow? We didn't know. Will the world continue to exist in 5 years from now? We didn't know. We were in panic mode. We were totally in a fear psychosis, paranoid fear psychosis. No one knew what to do. And it is at that time that something in me said, Ananda, you have to go online. You have to go online and you have to start sharing these teachings with those who are out there. And hence, our 52-week correspondence course that my father had developed in the 70s, and people would get one lesson per week and work on it and have the feedback. We converted it into an online program of 52 weeks every Sunday. And I thought maybe 20-30 people would sign up, and we had about 175 people sign up for that program. And every Sunday, it would be an alternate timing. One Sunday would be in the morning from 6:30 to 8. It, of course, became 6:30 to 8:30, and by the end, we ended up, I think, 6:30 to 9. Sessions kept on going longer as we went deeper and deeper into the practices. And similarly, we had the evening session from 4:30 to 6:30, which again would go to 7:30, depending on the time. And to cater to people across different time zones, we had a morning session for those for whom that was good. The others had the evening, and all of them got the recordings. And as we started building this very organically with them, we started to see how, though we were all online, we were all actually coming into the same space at the same time for the same purpose. We were actually able to recreate that Gurukula ambience online in what could be called the e-Gurukula, and what could be called lovingly by so many of the students, the Zoom womb. The womb, because we said the Guru's womb, the womb of the Guru is the Gurukula. And the Zoom womb became a space where people could come and connect to each other. Now, of course, for me, it has been fundamental that as many as possible, I've tried to ask the students to keep the videos on. So this type of webinar is actually not a setting that I'm usually comfortable with, because what I like to do is usually have 30-40 videos there so I can see the response, and for it becomes organic rather than it's just me talking to you. But when we have more numbers, we need this type of setup. So I understand it. So at any time, I would have 25 on one screen, 25 another. Sometimes the third screen was also filled with videos. 3 full screens of videos, watching people, watching their emotions as they laughed at the jokes, as they cried when heartful sharings were done. And this Team 52, as we called it, because 51 years we had run the 6-month teachers training course at the ashram, where people came from October to March. And we converted that onto the online mode. So Team 52 became our online group. And this group supporting each other, where I took the help of our mentors, our senior mentors, who would come every week and share their wisdom as we went through the lesson. And we created this beautiful family. This is something that can be created online. And so many people who couldn't have afforded or were physically not capable of traveling from different countries were able to have those teachings and access them from their own living room. This was a great gift for so many. And Once that course was completed, we started offering other training programs. And I said, okay, fine. This is a long-term training program. Can there be a short one? And of course, my love for Maharishi Patanjali had to be expressed. So the first one had to be a Yoga Sutra Saptangam. I call it a Saptangam. I was very optimistic and thought in 7 days, 7 sessions. I said 1 hour each. I will work on it. I ended up with 2 hours each session for 8 sessions. So the second time I did it, I said Yoga Sutra Ashtangam. And it needed an Ashtangam. Maharishi Patanjali was saying, Ananda, you are so stupid. It is an Ashta, not a Sapta. And so then I learned through that process. So we started doing that. Then we started to see, okay, the yantric teachings can be offered. Again, people who would not have been able to come here started to get it. And now in all of this, what started to happen is that we started to see that we have a vehicle, Zoom as a vehicle, online mode as a vehicle. How can the purity of the tradition be maintained? How can that intimate connection between the student and the teacher be sustained? And this is where slowly and steadily you start to develop what today has been given to me as the topic of accuracy, brevity, and clarity. Accuracy is very important because when you are giving these practices, as we found out, you have to be very sure whether you are communicating the accurate teaching. Otherwise, people end up doing something totally the opposite. And this is why having people's videos on, observing them, having other mentors who are also observing them, and a constant utilization of the chat box. You know, this is one thing which I really enjoy, and I do suggest that all of you should keep on putting something into the chat box because it is the way you keep it alive. I know that all of you are alive there and not just logged in and dead and buried. This is where we need to be very, very clear. What is the accuracy? With what accuracy are we teaching? It is so important. See, now I'm starting to find out that yes, some people are still here. They have not gone for the lunch break, leaving the Zoom on. This is where what we do. We start to realize accuracy is paramount. The second thing is, and that is the one that I struggle with. What I struggle with is always the brevity, keeping it short. Because in our parampara, I must tell you, I must warn you, in our parampara, we all talk a lot. We all keep on going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. This is a big issue we have in our tradition. Because we belong to the tradition that comes from Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu. Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu, was the sleepless saint mentioned in the autobiography of a yogi by Swami Yogananda. So my father, Swamiji Geetananda Giri, was a student of Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu. And Swami Kanakananda Bhrigu would never sleep. So he was called Kannoya, the sleepless saint. The second thing he used to have is this capacity to talk non-stop for weeks on end. And so he would keep on, talking. He would give one satsang and he would keep on going on for days and days. People will come, listen to him, sleep there, listen to him, go home, go to work, come back, listen to him. And my father was like that also. You see, with my father, he also could go on and on. Evening satsanga would start and my father would say, any questions? Now you have to be very careful because the moment somebody asked a question, it means satsanga went on for 4 hours. So the students are like, nobody ask a question today. Don't ask a question today. So, our parampara is always, trying to give as much as we can, be as expansive as possible. We believe in giving. Sharing is caring, as I said earlier. Sharing is caring, and the more you give, the more comes back. And so we are always, in this mode. So brevity is always very tough. So what happened is, this part was fine because, students signed up for the course. And so I said it's 2 hours and okay, 2 hours, 15 minutes. By the time we ended team 52, we were having 4 hours of sessions. Imagine people sitting in Zoom for 4 hours and not leaving the meeting. because of the potency of the teachings. This is not Ananda. This is the potency of the teachings. And when we can transfer those teachings with accuracy, automatically everything will be sustained. The interest is sustained by accuracy. But then I said, along with this, we were going through COVID. And I said, it is not just for the students who sign up for my courses. I owe humanity a debt. As a human being, it is my dharma to share with humanity. And we were all in that fear psychosis. We were all in that paranoid state. And so we started what was called the Vishwa Yoga Prarthana. The Vishwa Yoga Prarthana, which was a brainchild of Guruji Nagendraji, who at that time was president of the Indian Yoga Association. And as the director of publicity and public relations, I said, I should take this forward to people. So I said, okay, let's take it. So the idea was 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, 10 to 15 minutes in the evening. And I misread it. So the idea was either in the morning or the evening. So I started 48 days of morning and evening. So it ended up good, because what happened is 10 to 15 minutes of this Vishwa Yoga Prarthana, which had a sequence of different prayers and the Brahmari as a very beautiful tranquilizing pranayama. This was performed. People whose time zone suited the morning logged in the morning. Those who suited the evening logged in the evening. And those die-hard, dedicated sadhakas joined me both times. And this went on for 48 days. Now it went on for 48 days and I said, why should I stop for 48 days? So after stopping, I felt, we have done good, but it's not enough. So we will do more. Dil mange more in a positive way. So what did we do? We went on to another set of Vishwa Yoga Prarthana, and this time we went on to 108 days. So 108 days of joining together. And when I did this 108, I said, well, let's also give a small message. And so I learned the importance of keeping it simple and keeping it short. Brevity. So accuracy is important in that transmission to create the relationship. Brevity is to catch the attention. And so I started saying, what can I do in 10 minutes? What can I share in 10, 15 minutes? And this became this 108-day Prarthana, which again went on amazingly with people joining live on Facebook. We had amazing time sitting on my roof, and wherever we would be in my Kaka Bushandas, all those crows would be cawing so much at times that nobody could hear me. They only heard the crows. But that gave them that feel of being in Pondicherry, being in Ananda Ashram, being with Ananda on that rooftop as the sunset was there, as the sunrise was there. And creating community. The most important thing as a human being is to create community. We often forget that. Now, this empowered me, and I said, okay, fine. At the end of that, I said 108 is good enough. And then I said, but I am missing being with everyone. I'm missing sharing. I was sharing in my online sessions. I was running my online courses. The Yoga Sutra Saptangam became Ashtangam. Then the Mantra Yoga came, the Yantra Nava Angam, 9 sessions. We had a Satsanga 999. And 9 sessions over 9 weeks, 999, it came like that. 90 minutes. 90 minutes of 9 sessions over 9 weeks. See, this is how you get people involved. You get them so that they think, okay, only 9 weeks I have to put up with him. After that, I don't have to subscribe to his course. But problem is, people never have enough. They always want to be with you. And especially when you give them respect. I think as a human being, it doesn't matter whether it is in person or whether it's online. Can you respect others for what they are? Can you accept them as they are? And can you love them unconditionally? These are the messages that we need to ask ourselves, because that is what gets transmitted whether you are in person or whether you are online. It's very easy to see. Even online, I know when people don't care about the people who are there. And I know when people are caring. We have been running amazing sessions on cellulogenesis with experts from around the world. And it's so beautiful to have these people who care, who share that passion for the subject. We have an FDP on music therapy that's going on. Next month, we have an FTP on yoga therapy from our Institute of Salatogenesis here. The first such institute of salatogenesis in India. And we are now on the map of salatogenesis because of that. What a beautiful concept. And sharing all of these opportunities to share so that we all grow together. We have to grow together. Now, when this happened, I said, let's see, can we go further? Can we find a way to keep community over a longer time? Because along with the accuracy, along with the brevity, you need clarity. And when it comes to clarity, I think the biggest challenge we have is that those who know don't know that they know, and those who don't know think they know. This is a very big issue with clarity. And so you can be in a lecture that goes on and 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 on about nothing. This is a very big issue that happens. And this is why I love my dear Albert Einstein, who said, if you know it, keep it simple. He said, you should be able to explain it to a 6th grader. You should be capable of explaining it to a kid who's in the 6th grade if you know that subject. And this is where the clarity will come when you have imbibed that knowledge. We have a lot of data. We have a lot of information. From that information, we start to create a knowledge base. So the data, the information, you can get it through training. You can get it in person. You can get it online by reading books, by attending seminars. Yes, you get a lot of information and data. You can get it on Professor Google and Professor Wikipedia also. But just be careful. It's not always the real one. A lot of misinformation. There's a lot of information out there, but a lot of disinformation and misinformation. So you have to develop what in yoga we call Viveka Kyati. That Viveka Kyati is very important. To know what is and what isn't. Vivekam. It's a very important quality to be developed through the yoga sadhana, which is why we have the Ashtanga. Yoganga Anushtanat, says Maharishi Patanjali. Yoganga Anushtanat Ashuddhik Shaye Jnana Deepti A Viveka Kyate. It is to develop that Viveka Kyati and Jnana Deepti, that inner luminosity, and to get rid of all the impurities. Ashuddhik Shaye, that the Yoganga is there. Yoganga Anushtanat Ashuddhik Shaye Jnana Deepti Aviveka Kyate. Then he goes into the Ashtanga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhaya, Ashtau Angani. See, he has given it in such short verses. Patanjali is a master of accuracy, brevity, and clarity, which is the topic given by my dear Shivani for me. Patanjali is the original master of that. He is so accurate in the teachings. He is so brief. Now, most of the sutras are brief. There are a few which are a bit big. For example, when you talk about Yadhi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti, Darshana, Alabda Bhumi Katva, Anavasti Tatvani, Chitta Vikshepate, Antaraya. That is one sutra. So anytime people say the sutras are short, I recite this. And again, there is Vitarka, Himsadaya, Krita, Karita, Anumodita, Loba, Krodha, Moha, Purvaka, Mridu, Madhya, Adimatra, Dukkha, Ajnana, Anantapala, Iti, Pratipaksha, Bhavanam. Now, that's not short for sure, okay? But it's very accurate. It's very clear. So it's not that it always has to be accurate, and you'll have a mix of the three. So coming back here, what we did was we had all these different sessions going on, and I said, yes, it is nice. We have the yantra going on. Then one of the best online courses that I ran, and that's with all humility, because it's based on my father's teachings. Everything I share is totally based on what my father and mother have given me. The beautiful blessings to be born to my parents, who are also my gurus, Swami Geetananda Giri and Param Pujya Ammaji. They have given me everything. There's nothing that I have which is not given by them. So because I realize how fortunate I am to have been given this. It is a gift that I have to share with others, which drives that caring and sharing motto that I already have shared with you. So when I think about the teachings my father had, one of the very important teachings was yogic psychic neurology, the nervous system at the psychic level and what yogic perspective to it. It is very, very beautiful when we think about that. Yogic psychic neurology. It is a very beautiful interplay between modern and ancient teachings. So this was 12 sessions, which actually again was something which I had to prepare. So a lot of emphasis going into the preparation, which means it's a type of dharana. That dharana becomes a dhyana and samadhi becomes a samyama. And yes, Eronika Singh, that sutra was talking about tat kramayo, shayodayo. He talks about how the different moments are in succession. And when you can focus on the succeeding moments and slow them down, you can gain an entry into the higher consciousness. It's something similar to, where you have all the images and then you play the images together, you have a motion picture. The same type of concept Patanjali has talked about. Should have been given an Oscar for his idea if they had Oscars in those days. Anyway, coming back. So along the way, I was doing all of this. And then I said, but again, it is a limited group of people who sign up for my courses. They keep the ashram running through their Guru Dakshina. Yes, that is wonderful. But then there is a greater family out there. There is my Vishwa Yoga Parivar. My Vishwa Yoga Parivar, how do I reach to them? How can I share with them? How can I spend time with them? And so came into mind a beautiful concept called scintillating Saturdays. And this scintillating Saturdays, initially I was like, okay, every Saturday I'll spend 15-20 minutes talking about something. Well, it ended up becoming about 45 minutes. And the reason it was 45 minutes is I had to finish it, get ready and go to work. Because by then we were back working. Initially we thought we didn't have to work, and then we realized that no work, no pay. So, that's where 40-45 minutes time came. And I started sharing the scintillating Saturdays where every Saturday at 7 a.m. Initially it was 7:15, then it became 7 a.m. I would sit down on the rooftop and start off with my Tat Param Pariyaya. And then bingo, one person would come up, then another person, then another person. There are those regulars, you know who you are. I don't have to mention your names. Many of you are here also. I see that. They would immediately pop up. And I knew that I had this audience out there, be it 30, be it 70, whatever day, wherever they were and what was going on in their head. And I would have this outpouring of sharing that would be a learning for me also. And through this online mode of sharing through Facebook, now all of those videos, I realized I may lose them. So I downloaded and I put them on YouTube. And so the 108 Saturdays are there on YouTube also for those who are interested. And some of the students now have gone back and started watching them in order to relive those experiences. And it's actually very beautiful. Once in a while, one of them pops up in my feed and I watch it for a few minutes. Like most performers and most teachers, you don't like to watch yourself too much. But it's quite an amazing one. On YouTube, you just have to go and put, you just put Bhavanani and yoga. You put it on YouTube, you put it any place. There are a lot of Bhavananis in the world. It's a Sindhi family name because my father's father was Sindhi, Sukhraj Bhavanani. Hence, we have the Bhavanani. But there are not too many Bhavananis in yoga. In fact, I think I may be the only Bhavanani in yoga who's not really selling anything. Bhavananis are Sindhi, so normally we sell a lot of things. I don't believe in selling things because I believe that when you share with the giving approach, things come back. But what I'm trying to share here with you today is this experience where from a person who was a non-believer in online yoga sessions, I have become not only a believer, but I have become someone who's going out and propagating it, saying, all of you should try it out. Now, when you try it, please remember, there is another human being on the other side of the computer. It's not just about you. And this is why, again, I must remind you, because now, other than a few of you, Aronika and Amrita, now I have seen you there, and Manisha, yes. I need to know you're out there, because otherwise, again, have you gone to sleep? Right? So we have to know there's another person on the other side. We need to know there's another living human being there. Can you respect the other person? Can you love that other person? Can you care about that other person? And can you have that concept that we are in this process together? It is not just about me. This is where, my mother has given this beautiful nada, Bhavana Shuddhi Kriya, where we tap the back of the head, which is the brainstem area, and we go, me, 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 me. Very much that me, that ahankar, that abhidevesha, klesha, survival instinct. And then we shift to the prefrontal cortex here, this prefrontal cortex, which is where the buddhi is. And the capacity to understand the biggest picture, the bigger picture, the fact that others are also there with their aspirations, their likes and dislikes. And we tap it and we go, the. So we are shifting from me. And when you do me, you are very mean, okay? Me. And you go to the. See, this is the shift in consciousness that you want to develop. It's not just about me. It's about understanding that other people exist. They have as much right to exist as we have. And to understand that they are also seeking love. They are seeking knowledge. They are seeking respect. They are seeking recognition just as we are. And this is where that shift in consciousness is so essential. So it doesn't matter whether you are teaching offline or online, you have to connect to the pulse of your listeners. Pulse of the listeners. I remember very much, my music guru, T.V. Shankaranarayanan sir, Manasika Guru, who was a Sangeeta Kalanidhi, a Padma Vibhushan. I used to admire his music so much. I still admire, but he passed away last year. With Shankaranarayanan sir, TVS sir, he made a beautiful statement. He said, you need to know the pulse of your audience. As a performer, as a singer on stage, you need to know the pulse of your audience. You need to know where they are, what are the biomechanics, what are the biorhythms that are there. And then accordingly, you have to move with it. It's a dance. A lesson is a dance between the teacher and the taught. Whenever you find the students moving away, you have to go closer to them. And sometimes they come so close to you, you have to move back so they don't step on your toes. That constant interaction is essential in the teaching process. Now, some people, they know a lot, but they don't know how to teach, because teaching is a skill that you have to cultivate. We say there are some people who are born teachers, but I believe you have to cultivate it. And you cultivate it by wanting to share. Now, when you share something, can you be accurate about what you share? Now, accuracy implies truthfulness. Accuracy implies truthfulness. Can you have truthfulness and fidelity to the tradition? Whatever you are following in your tradition, can you be accurate and follow it properly without deviation and distortion? Because one of the modern tendencies is we think that we can do whatever we want. See, our rishis were not stupid. Our great paramparas were not idiots. They were the wisest of the wise. They were better than any number of Nobel Prizes. Those rishis, that rishi culture has given us these yoga parampara. Those teachings, instead of transmitting them with accuracy, we distort and we deviate because of our ahankar. I know better than the rishis. What an idiotic statement that is. We have to have that humility, that we have such a treasure that has been bequeathed to us by our illustrious ancestors. As my mother Ammaji so beautifully says, the Siddhas are my ancestors, the Rishis are my ancestors. That is the type of belonging we have to have. And we then have the dharma, we have the responsibility to transmit those teachings with accuracy, fidelity, and honesty. This is accuracy. Accuracy is not just memorizing the textbook and telling it to you. Can I have that shraddha? Can I have that conviction to stay the path? What my beloved Guru Parampara has given me, can I transmit it without distortion or deviation or mutation? A statement that my beloved father would say. He used to define dharma as right useness. Using everything as it is meant to be used. A very beautiful statement when you think about it. Whatever you have been given, can you use it in the right manner, in the appropriate manner? It is very important in sharing that we have that right useness, righteousness. Righteousness or dharma as right useness. You don't misuse it. You don't disuse it. You don't abuse it. You use it in the appropriate way with respect and humility. When I can respect the teachings and I transmit them with humility, I am managing accuracy. When the teachings, which are so elaborate, when we run our 52 lesson program, yoga step by step, when we look at those lessons, even some of us who have been through it 20 times, 30 times, we always find something new in it. Even on Monday, I was running the Deeper Gitananda for those who have already done earlier programs. And we were looking at a lesson, and as I read it out, I'm like, I have never seen that before. I haven't seen that in that lesson before. It's a written word, but I haven't seen it before. Because as you grow, your perspective will grow, your capacity to learn will grow, and you'll see things you didn't see before. We always say that Swamiji puts things there. He puts them when we are not watching. So the teachings are so expansive. The teachings of yoga are like the ocean. They are so expansive. Now, what is important here is that expansiveness, it is easy to get lost in it. So imagine you have a water tanker. You have a water tanker and somebody says, I am thirsty. Now, I hope you will have enough sense and common sense. Common sense, of course, is long dead and buried. But I hope you'll have some common sense. That when somebody says they are thirsty, you give them a very nice container like this. They can have a little bit of water like I had now. Or you give them a cup of water. Or you bring a cup with a jug. I hope you don't take a water tanker and put the head down and open the tanker on top of them because they are thirsty. I hope you don't do that. When somebody is thirsty, they need enough water to satisfy the thirst. Not the water tanker to be thrown on them or to submerge the head in the water. Accuracy was fidelity. Brevity is to know how much to give to which person at what time and in what way. So there are some people who you can talk to them for 2 minutes and after that you cannot talk to them. Just talk to them 2 minutes, give them the message and go. There are some people you need to talk to them 5 hours to get the message. Now it is not that 5 hours is long or 5 minutes is short. what is required for that individual is brevity. So it's not about keeping it short, but keeping it as short as needed for that individual. Where you are understanding that people need to get enough food to chew and digest and not go into indigestion by overloading the digestive system. People suffer from knowledge indigestion these days because there is a knowledge overload. And we have to be careful. This is where we have to have awareness of the individual and understand how much can they tolerate. That student, what is the capacity? Again, go back to Maharishi Patanjali. He says the sadhakas, they may be of different type. He said they may be mridu, that is the very dull and, very, a person who's not really ready for it, but has come into the class. How you approach them is different. Mridu, then there is madhya, the average sadhaka, who can take it in a certain way. Then you have adimatra. They are capable of the higher teachings. You can go on for 5 hours with them because they are capable. What is the receptacle? What is the vehicle into which you are putting that knowledge, that wisdom, that information? You remember I said knowledge and data? Data becomes knowledge. But then that knowledge has to be assimilated into your system for wisdom to manifest in you. You cannot buy wisdom and you cannot own wisdom. Wisdom manifests as a result of the interaction between life experience and knowledge, and that knowledge which has been gained by efforts to collect information and data. Knowledge is gained by collecting data. Experience interacts with the knowledge to give you wisdom. And as you grow in your maturity, you move into what is called prajna, which is the transcendental wisdom. So we, as a teacher, be it offline, be it online, we need to understand what is the capability, the capacity of that individual student. How much is just enough for that person? What is their appetite? At which point will they attain satiety? We need to understand it. And it's very interesting, physiologically speaking, that both appetite, hunger, and satiety are located in your hypothalamus. And where is the hypothalamus? You see this nice dot here. You go inside a couple of inches, you hit the hypothalamo-pituitary axis. The hypothalamus is the center of our very existence. What we are is governed totally by the hypothalamus. Whether we sleep or not, whether we eat or not, whether our endocrines work or not, whether our immune system works or not, whether we have a sympathetic or parasympathetic, everything comes under hypothalamus. And in that hypothalamus lie both appetite center and satiety center. Now, what is the hypothalamus related to in yoga? Agnya chakra. What is Agnya? Intuition, inner wisdom, beyond knowledge. Agnya, beyond knowledge, beyond information. That inner wisdom that you have tapped into. We need to tap into that inner wisdom to understand how much hunger that sadhaka, that shishya, that disciple, that sadhaka, that seeker has. How much will satisfy their hunger now? And we have to realize that today they may not be so hungry, tomorrow they may be more hungry. Today they may be able to take this much of the teaching, tomorrow not so much. That is what determines the brevity. And that is why sometimes all that a person needs is one word. Another person may need a catalog. Another person may need an encyclopedia. We should know. And that is where the inner intuition has to come. So accuracy is fidelity to the tradition, transmitting the teachings without distortion or deviation. Brevity is giving the individual only as much as they are capable of digesting. And then clarity. Shina vritte abhijata seva manehe, says Maharishi Patanjali. We need to eradicate the chitta vritti for the mind to have the clarity and become crystal clear. Now, as long as the chitta vrittis are running us around, we will not understand any clarity. That is why the journey has to go inside. One has to go inside in order to connect to that Guru within, the Guru Sakshat who lies deep within us. So we have to go into that Guru within us and we have to tap into that inner intuition, that intuitive wisdom. And we have to understand the clarity. Now, clarity means that you are taking yourself out of the equation. Because the biggest polluter, the kleshas are the polluter. The things that pollute us internally are the kleshas. They distort us. They are making us totally colored. And so something that has no color is made into different colors, and then people fight about what color it is. Clarity comes from the capacity to go in and have stillness. You know, it is very interesting that once a young kid in our class, we were asking about different definitions of yoga, and one of the favorite definitions is skill in action. Karmasu Kaushalam can be translated that way. And this young kid, she said, yoga is skill in stillness. I still don't know whether she knew what she was saying. Skill in stillness, to be still. That is what the great Ramana Maharishi has said. He said, Summa ir. Summa ir means be still. Now, colloquially, it means be quiet. So maybe his students were very noisy and he was not able to do what he wanted. So he said, Summa, like the parents tell the kids, shut up, keep quiet. But the actual meaning is be still. In that stillness, you manifest clarity. As long as you don't have stillness, you don't have stability. As long as you don't have stability, you don't have clarity. You know, if the foundations are not strong, if the foundations are not stable, it's going to be very difficult. Clarity will not be there. And that is why Maharishi Patanjali, when he defines Abhyasa, he says, there has to be Dhrida Bhumi, there has to be a firm foundation for Abhyasa to be Abhyasa. Satu Dvirgakala Nairantarya Satkara Asevito Dhrida Bhumihi. That is what Abhyasa is. That Abhyasa has to be based on firm foundation. The firm foundation where you have Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Samadhi, Prajna. These are the qualities that Patanjali says are required for the highest aspiration to manifest in the aspirant. There has to be Shraddha, conviction that yes, what I'm doing is what is needed to be done. Virya, there has to be great courage and endurance. Courage and endurance, I meant currents. I made one word. Courage and endurance. Smriti, you have to be capable of learning from past experiences by analyzing them through Swadhyaya. And Samadhi Prajna, you have to develop the capacity for the higher wisdom that comes with Samadhi. You cannot buy it. It cannot be a shortcut. And that is why these qualities are essential if one is to have clarity. Clarity is required if you want to transmit the teachings properly. Accuracy is fidelity. Brevity is understanding the person who is receiving the teachings and how much is appropriate for that person at that point in time. And clarity is knowing what to teach, when to teach, how to teach. It is so important. When you are with children, you have to teach in a different way than when you are with adults. When you are talking to somebody who has come for health issue, they are not interested in you talking about the Atma at that time. They are interested in their health issue and solutions for it. And this is why the distractions of the senses pull us into the web of the senses. It's called the Indriya Jala, like Maya Jala. The Indriya Jala, we get caught in that web. And this is where only by contemplating and moving up into the Agya Chakra level that we can move from Indriya Jala into what is called Indriya Jaya. This type of clarity comes through the practice of the Niyama, which is Saucha. Because very beautifully Maharishi Patanjali tells us, Sauchat Swanga Jugupsa Paraya Samsargaha Sattva Shuddhi Saumanasya Ekagraya Indriya Jaya Atma Darshana Yogyatvanitya. What beautiful teachings are there. The necessity to be a pure vehicle so that the transmission will occur with clarity. And you will at that moment have clarity. What blocks the clarity? The klesha. What is the first klesha? Avidya. Avidya is not knowing. If you don't know, there's nothing wrong about it. But not knowing and thinking you are knowing. I know everything and you know nothing. That is avidya. Patanjali so clearly tells us it's a confusion of the anitya with the nitya, the asuchi with the suchi, the anatma with the atma kyati. And that type of confusion, anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu, nitya, suchi, sukha, atma kyati, avidya. That avidya leads to the asmita, the ego that says, I am teaching. The moment you think, I am teaching, you lose clarity. I am only the vehicle. It is said, we are the nimitta bhavana. We are the tool that is transmitting these teachings without distorting, with clarity and as appropriate for that person at that point of time. Hence, to come to a conclusion for now, the maintenance of ABC, accuracy, brevity, and clarity, is not something new. It is based on fidelity, honesty, humility. It is based on the capacity to respect the other person's limitations and strengths and know how much to be given to whom, at what time and in what manner, and the clarity to be able to move out of the way and let the teachings flow as they are to flow. What is the teaching to flow today to all of you? When I move my ego out of the way, that teaching will flow. But if I think I am Dr. Ananda and I'm going to give you a talk, most probably it will be a mess. That is so important that we move out of the way. When we move out of the way, everything will be fine. But when we stand in the way, even the divine will struggle to move past us because our heavy, bloated, dark, like one of those big buffaloes in the middle of the road. Yeah, that is what our ego is like. So I'm going to conclude here, and unless there are any questions, I think I am helping Shivani and her team at hellomyyoga by keeping to time, because I know as an organizer the difficulties. And when I know the difficulties, I should be sensitive to the difficulties of others. I congratulate all of you for being part of this event, the first of its kind. I congratulate Shivani and her team for putting it together. As you already know, I'm always there with you at hellomyyoga. I appreciate what you are doing. And I hope that you will continue to grow and glow like the rising sun. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much. I always say to my friends in community that the few teachers are working like a prana for hellomyyoga. They fuel us and we keep moving ahead. And that's the beauty of yours, your participation in marathon of programs and staying to your motto, sharing is caring. This, I think all the participants, all the attendees will also agree with this, that in all his programs, in all his physical or online workshops, he makes sure that he use this word sharing is caring, because that comes from his heart, and that's what he is doing it. He's he's a living idol for all the teachers, that they are unbiasedly sharing what they have learned. And that's how we are expanding this community. And friends, that's the bottom line of whatever we are doing. Whatever. If hellomyyoga is good at creating such platforms, then we are making sure that we get you the best teachers from India and they share what they have. And that's why we go back again and again to Dr. Ananda and request his support in this. Thank you so much, sir. I have never heard ABC in such a beautiful way. ABC was always a foundation for communication. It's a foundation of communication. But the way you have produced it and connecting it with internal and external world, it's beautiful. The way you have created the bridge. And that's what we aspiring yoga instructors, all the attendees who are, they should look forward to this gyan what sir has shared with us today as a Bible, honestly, as a Bible, as a rule book, because it is very important to aspire an ideal teacher and follow his path. And that's what, sir, we get you again and again because we want people to be inspired. Already there's a huge community that is inspired by you, but we want people that why do we follow you?
Be blessed always. Have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
day. Wishing you all success for this yoga
Thank you
business.
so much. Thank you so much, sir.